Hi there, my name is Ashley Scotland and I am here today to talk about the importance and the significance of wearing a poppy each November 11th. Every year we have the opportunity to honor and remember brave soldiers that have died for both you and me. Honor them by wearing a red poppy on your chest every November 11th. First of all, I would like to read the famous poem In Flanders Fields by John McCrae, written May 1915. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the lark still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and we were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from feeling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders fields. So this famous poem was written following World War I, and even though the wars happened many years ago, it's still a reality today, and the sacrifice still holds true today as it did then. I had a specific relative that fought at Vimy Ridge, and he was stationed where he had binoculars, and the Germans that he was fighting also did, and he saw this one German man and he saw him dying. And so I guess it's my third great grandpa went up to him and held him in his arms and held him until he died. Well, before this poor German boy, probably all of like 17, 18, before he died, he took off his binoculars and gave them to my great grandpa. And we still have those in our family today, and unfortunately I couldn't bring them to show you, but they are so real. And war, it's tragic and it's true, but we also need to remember why they fought for us. The total casualties estimated for World War I were estimated around 37.5 million, and for World War II is estimated over 60 million. Not to mention those that were injured, the civilians, the innocent. War is just very tragic. The second point that I would like to point out is our rights and freedoms because of war and the sacrifice of others on our behalf. First of all, I would like to point out that we have the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and this is a Bill of Rights which forms part of the Constitution of Canada, which was adopted in 1982. And World War II and I led the way for this to be possible so we could have our freedom. The Charter developed out of the United Nations Human Rights and Freedoms movement as enunciated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So as you can tell, the world wars, they just made a turning point for our society. Our second point, I'm in nursing, so this holds very true to me, is universal health care and the opportunity to have health care here. We are allowed absolute full access to health care, and this is a huge revolutionary thing. We don't have to have money to go and see a doctor. We just go, and we just ultimately go and have free health care, which is a huge thing. And then also we have the right and the freedom to vote. So we do not live in a communist government. We have the rights and freedoms to go and vote our leaders into power, and ultimately the power of our country is in the hands of us. And lastly, I'd like to point out is religion. So part of other countries that aren't allowed to vote, they aren't allowed to practice religion freely, and this is something that's very important to me. So I find freedom to practice my religion is a huge thing, and I thank those soldiers that died so I can have that freedom to worship as I wish. The third point that I'd like to point out is how we can show that we are grateful. Sure, we can't go and fight a war for them or to show that we're grateful that way. But it's in the little things, I think, that we can do. We can go to ceremonies every year. The city puts on a Remembrance Day assembly held usually at the NMAX Theater, and we can just go, and I try and make it every year, and it's actually a very touching moment, and you just realize how many people, even from right here in Lethbridge or your home and your families, went and fought for your freedom. And then also I think that we can vote. It's pretty sad, the turnout of voting, because these men, these people, they died for this freedom. And I feel as though we seem to take it for granted. And even this little poppy, it's a little thing. You just go to a box and you just drop in a few coins and then you take a poppy. And so many people don't. I find it rare to see someone wearing a poppy or going and voting. And I think that is just a huge thing. It's hard to comprehend people dying for your freedom, and you can easily take it for granted. But I think we all need to just open our eyes and realize we have these freedoms, and we need to take advantage of it and be grateful for it. Lastly, life is full of symbols. We should take advantage of them, and most specifically, take advantage of wearing a poppy. And remember what it symbolizes and the effect it has on you and me. I remember I was working one day, and this man, I was wearing a poppy, and this man came up to me, and he was a veteran, and he thanked me for being grateful for wearing a poppy. I challenge you, you don't have to sacrifice much. Even if you put in $1, you can take a poppy. And even just hang it up in your car, in your visor, and just pull it off every year, once a year. And you can show that you're grateful for your rights and freedoms.